Today's recipe is going to be an herb hummus and salt and vinegar potato wedges. To start our recipe, I've got a few red onions here that I haven't peeled or cut yet. Now, the rule about potatoes is one large potato per person. But when I had bought my bag of potatoes, it was a bunch of big potatoes at the top, and at the bottom of the bag seemed to be a whole bunch of small potatoes. So I've got about 8 small potatoes, and I think that's going to be enough to make about 2 servings of potato wedges, and they're quite small potatoes. So it's going to be some very small potato wedges. But we're going to start with our potato wedges, and then we're going to put those in the oven, and then we're going to start on our hummus. So to start off, we're going to peel all of our potatoes. And you want to take all the skin off, but you want to leave as much potato as possible. So the smartest thing to do is to use a vegetable peeler or a potato peeler and not really use a knife, because with a knife you're more prone to take more potato off and leave less potato to actually eat. So use a peeler when you're going to be peeling your potatoes. Now I'm going to pause this, I'm going to peel all this, and then I'm going to get back to you after I have everything peeled and cut so you can see what it looks like. And now that all of my potatoes are peeled and chopped, I wanted to show you what I'm talking about. See these little potatoes? See, when you want to cut your wedges, think apple slices. And that way you get the perfect little wedge of potato. So you got to think of it like, does it look like an apple after I'm finished cutting it? And that'll make the perfect little wedges when they look like little slices like that. See, now that all of my potatoes are peeled and cut up, I'm going to take olive oil, and I'm going to take, I think it's going to be around 2 tablespoons of olive oil. One might do it though. Let me see. Let's do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I never measure this, so this is the first for both of us. Alright. And then you're going to take a coarse salt, and you're going to take 1 teaspoon of that. And I don't think quite a teaspoon is going to be, a teaspoon might be a little too much. And you're going to take pepper, and you're going to put pepper to taste, just a little bit. And then you're going to take it, and you're going to swirl it around in your bowl till the olive oil covers all of the pieces of potato. Now, depending on how much vinegar you like, I'm going to actually add a little bit of vinegar to this. And I'm also going to add some when they come out the oven. A little bit of vinegar now and a little bit of vinegar then. You just get the salt and the vinegar to permeate into our potatoes. I've got my vinegar in a little bitty thing. I actually buy mine in bulk, so I've just got it in a little container. I'm guessing about a half a tablespoon worth of vinegar, and you're just going to toss that. So everything is coated. And I think a tablespoon and a half of olive oil would have been plenty. We want to make sure everything is coated so it roasts correctly. Alright. Now we're going to take our oven top off, because I'm going to be using my portable oven again. We're going to layer these as flat as we can at the bottom of our pan, so they can roast. Now I have an induction tabletop oven, so I'm going to have this at 350, and I'm going to put it for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to check it, because last time I had put it for around 30 and it seemed to be entirely too much. So we're going to do 15-minute intervals in our oven at 350. So we're going to put this at 350 for 15 minutes, and we're going to hit start. And next time you see me, I'm going to have everything out to make the hummus while this is in the oven. And we are back to make our hummus while our potato wedges are in the oven. Now, the secret to creamy hummus is actually peeling the garbanzo beans. Now, I've got a can of drained garbanzo beans, and I'm just going to squeeze them between my finger and take the skin off, and then drop them in my food processor. Now, this is a very time-consuming part of making hummus, so I suggest doing what I'm about to do and put on your favorite Netflix show while you peel your little garbanzo beans or chickpeas, whatever you like to call them. And as you peel them, just stick them in your food processor. Now, I actually have a manual food processor. I only take the big one out for when I'm going to do double and triple batches of things. But since this is only going to be a single batch of hummus for me personally, I'm only going to be using my manual. But for, if you've got an actual food processor or a blender with like, a food processor like pulse button on it, where you can just like pulse instead of just running it, that'll also work. But you're just going to peel your garbanzo beans and put them in your food processor. Now, after I've got these peeled and I've got them in my food processor, I'm going to show you all of my herbs that go into it. And then it'll probably be time to check on our potato wedges. So I'll see you in a few. Alright, now that I've got all of my garbanzo beans peeled and put into my food processor, and our salt and vinegar potato wedges have been, the timer has gone off and they're ready for us to stir and put them for maybe another 15 minutes. So we're going to move this aside, maybe not drop it next time. We're going to take this off. See how some of them are browned already? We're going to flip them over. And then we're going to put these for another 15 minutes at 350 degrees while we finish up our hummus. Now, you want to get the side that hasn't been roasted yet face up, and the sides that have been face down if you can, without trying to squish the potatoes. Alright, those are all stirred up. We're going to put our top back on. I'm going to move this aside just a little bit so I can get to my icebox. In my icebox, I'm going to grab my tahini, my lemon juice, and some coffee, but I'll get that later. To our food processor with our garbanzo beans, we're going to get a large soup spoon. We're going to take it and we're going to fill it about halfway with tahini, and we're going to put that in our bowl, in our food processing bowl. That adds 1 can of garbanzo beans, and I'm guessing about a tablespoon worth of tahini that we've got in our bowl so far. And we're going to put a half a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now this is just going to be 1 serving. If you've got multiple servings that you're going to need for like a party, I suggest doubling this recipe or even quadrupling this recipe if you're expecting more than 10 people. So we've got a can of garbanzo beans. We've got our half tablespoon of tahini. our half tablespoon of lemon juice, and now we're going to put a good half tablespoon of olive oil. I think we're gonna put a full tablespoon of olive oil in here to help it creamy. Alright. And then along with that, we're gonna add in our seasonings. This is gonna be a half teaspoon of oregano, a half teaspoon of garlic salt, a half teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, a half teaspoon of basil, and a half teaspoon of parsley. Now, I'm going to fudge a little bit, and I'm going to actually take 1 clove of pickled garlic, and I'm going to add that to my food processor as well. I'm going to grab a fork. Now, I don't need to mince this because it's going to get minced in the food processor. So I'm just going to take 1 pickled garlic clove and then put that in. And then we're going to put just a little bit of the pickling juice in there. Now, you should have saved some of the canning liquid from the chickpeas. If you didn't, you can add, let's see, more olive oil, but you need something to make it to where it'll be creamy. So I'm going to think about that because I forgot and I dumped out my can of chickpeas. So I'm going to see how this all works out. I'm going to grab the top of my food processor and I'll get right back to you. And we're back. I just put our oven back at 350 for 15 minutes to finish up our potato wedges. And I've got another can of chickpeas that I stole the liquid from that I'm going to put into my food processor, and it was actually about a 1/4 cup that I put in. And we're going to take that. Now, if you have a food processor, just use that, but I have my manual one, so I'm going to be using this. Let me see how it's doing. Now, it actually came out a little too liquidy, so I'm actually going to add the rest of my second can of chickpeas. They aren't peeled, so it's going to be a little bit bumpier than I normally do. But when you're going to add chickpeas, I suggest peeling. I'm going to get that finished processed, and then I'm going to show you. But just do it to where you process it, you stir around the bowl, you process it, stir around the bowl so it can get combined. I'm going to finish doing this, and then I'll get right back to you. Now that our chickpeas have processed, our hummus is done. We've got about 7 or 8 minutes left on our potato wedges in the oven, but I'm just going to show you how this came out. Now, usually my hummus is a little bit thicker than this, but it came out very good. We're going to have a quick taste test after I've got the blade out and I've put it in its container. Now, it's a little bumpier than it should be because I did not peel my second can of garbonzo beans because I forgot and I just plopped them in there earlier. But it's still a very good hummus, and it's still very smooth because we peeled our first can that we put in. Okay, I'm gonna come show you real quick. You can see we've got our hummus done and it's in our container. Now we're gonna make a little well at the top, make like a dent in our hummus, and then we're gonna put a small drizzle of olive oil on top. And then our hummus is done. This is a gluten-free recipe, so we're actually going to be using the potato wedges to dump into it, to use that as a dip. And so we're going to wait till those get out to actually dip something in it and taste it. So I'm actually going to take a spoon real quick, just to taste a little bit of the hummus. It's really good hummus. Now, I regret not peeling the second can, but it's still very good. Yeah, it's still really good. We're finished with our hummus recipe. I'm gonna check on our potato wedges real quick. See, it says we got 5 minutes left, but they look done to me. So we're gonna hit pause, clear that out. So it was 15 minutes and then a round of 10. 10 minutes in our oven. Since my top of my oven is not cooperating, we're going to put some oven mitts on. Slide into place, pull it off. Spoon off our spoon rest. Yeah, all of our potato wedges are done. So I'm going to take one of my larger bowls, my larger dinner bowls, and I'm going to take some paper towels to help get some of that olive oil off, to put in our bowl. And we're going to scoop it out into our bowl with the paper towel. Now that's just to get the extra olive oil off from cooking. We're not going to serve it with the paper towel. That's just to get some of the extra oil off. Careful not to burn yourself. Get a little bit of the extra oil off. Alright. Okay. Now that we've got our extra oil off, we actually took off some of our vinegar. So we're going to take our vinegar and some of our coarse salt that we put in the beginning. We're going to take about a 1/4 teaspoon. We're going to sprinkle that on top as we need it. We're going to take a little bit of our vinegar, just a bit of a drizzle. And then we're going to come back with a little bit of black pepper and we're going to sprinkle that over the top as we like. And then our potato wedges are done. Pick this up. I'm going to come by and show you our potato wedges that we've just finished. Our lovely potato wedges. We're going to let these cool for a quick minute before we dip into our hummus. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit while that's cooling off. Alright. Take just a little one. Our potato wedges are absolutely perfect. Perfect amount of salt, perfect amount of of vinegar. I'm gonna take one more that's cooled off. And we're gonna try our hummus with it. Kind of an odd combination, but it works well together. So next time you're having a party and you need a gluten-free option, potato wedges and substitute as crackers. They're more fattening, but they are gluten-free. This has been Wednesday's video. It's been hummus and herb hummus and salt and vinegar potato wedges. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon to get notifications every time I post. And you can follow me and on all of my social medias at SweetGAmber for Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, all of my social medias. You can ask me questions about my recipes. You can tell me what recipes you want me to see next. And if any of the recipes didn't work out for you, you can let me know and we can work them together and see what substitutions we can make for how it works for you. I'll see you next time. Bye. Now I'm gonna awkwardly come turn off the camera again. I'm gonna eat these potato wedges.